tell us, I guess, when it all started, when the whole free, the free mom hugs comes around, and just kind of like, it starts with Parker, right? And the relationship that you have with your son, and just also, the tough questions from your upbringing that you're battling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Rex and I, we didn't go to church regularly when we were young. We just rode the church bus when it was in the neighborhood, and it would be free ice cream or roller skating, and we'd hang out, and it was a lot of fun. And then as we, started our family, we bought our home, and it was in an area that had a church that we could walk to, and we just started going there. Actually, Travis, our oldest son, went to like vacation Bible school there, and we just got plugged in, and we were there every time the church doors were open. And we raised our children there for the better part of 20 years. And when Parker, the short of it is when he turned 21, he met someone, and he needed me to be okay about it, and I didn't take the news well at all. You see, we had raised our children in the church where we absorbed this idea that homosexuality is wrong. Right. And he really tried to have that conversation his entire life, but I didn't allow it. I didn't give him the vocabulary or the space. And in doing that, I hurt him really bad. And I made life in our home very difficult. And it's something that I regret even today. It's very painful to remember. But luckily, we were able to work through that. And it was only by, I say it all the time, but when he came out of his closet, I went into mine. Yeah. And I had to reconcile my faith, because I thought, how can a loving God that I've grown to just give everything to, even my family, and then suddenly it was implied that he would reject my son and condemn him to hell. Yeah. So I was frozen in that fear and in that ignorance. Right. And so I've been very transparent about it, because as the journey took us from the church to the Pride Parade, I began to, get educated on things like the history of human sexuality, on science and evidence, and most importantly to me is hearing testimonies from gay Christians. And that really opened my eyes to something that I feel like we had been duped in our walk of faith, and with the very best of intentions. Yeah. And so then I started meeting other moms just like me, whereas previously I thought I was the only mom in Oklahoma with a gay kid, really. Yeah. And I certainly didn't talk about what I was experiencing. So it took us from the church to the Pride Parade without losing my faith or my son. And then I got plugged into the community. And that was in 2014. We stood at the Pride Festival with Parker and his friends. And then in 2015, I made a homemade button that said Free Mom Hugs. And I stood at the festival, and with anyone who made eye contact with me, I'd say, can I offer you a free mom hug? And from that experience, I started the nonprofit. And I'm not the first mom to offer hugs. But I think the reason why it's been so successful is that number one, it gave people a platform because people want to do something. And number two, in being transparent about it, other mothers like me and families like ours can say, this is us, this is what we went through too, and it allows that space to really search the matter out. Yeah. And I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I know, I haven't been through that myself, but I can't imagine, how difficult it was, right, to spend so much of your time with the church and your faith, and this is everything, right? And then, you go through that period, right, of battling with acceptance and just everything. That must have been so tough, but through that you've learned so many lessons, and now what you've done now is being able to help families get through that, because we are in Oklahoma, we are heavily Christian based, regardless of what denomination you are. It is a real thing, and it is very tough to I think, probably families or mothers or parents felt embarrassed maybe, and it's never want to talk about it, or they, and you always think about, what do my friends think of me? And then you dive down that spiral, and it's like you said, you went into your closet. It's a tough thing to deal with, right? So you go to the Pride Festival and you see smiling faces and people, right? Real people. It doesn't matter who they are, what they do, just real people. And the simple thing of giving someone a hug, right? But it seems so simple, but it's something for them that was it probably gave you as much joy as it did them.
Absolutely,
right?
yes. Yeah.
So you take all this, and then it starts with the book. Is that right? You go into the book first.
Right. I wrote the book, How We Sleep at Night: A Mother's Memoir, and at that time, when it was, I self-published the book, and Free Mom Hugs wasn't even on the radar because the last chapter was inspired by standing at the Pride Festival with Parker and his friends, and the last chapter was at that moment, and it was a pivotal moment in my life, in my faith. And, you know, what you said earlier, because you were in my head with everything that you said, but there's a sense of belonging when you're in a faith community, the fellowship of believers and the participating in the faith. And when that's gone, but I know the difference now between like the chosen family of the community. And when I say community going forward, is what I mean is by the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah.
And I totally respect the acronym.
Yeah.
But for, you know, the recording's sake, the community. And I met a beautiful spirit-filled community. And that also, they also want a sense of belonging with community.
Yeah.
And when the church, non-affirming church is taken away, there's great devastation there. Not only are they, you know, separated from their church homes, but from their families. And it's just devastating.
Yeah.